Well, in the music education space, we know there are a lot of associations, a lot of acronyms. We are tackling one of those today that you may have heard of, the NFHS. We'll tell you about what it is on today's PMEA's Take Note podcast. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Despotakis, and welcome to this edition of PMEA's Take Note podcast. Today, we're talking about an organization that you may have heard of, and you may have heard about it in a variety of ways. We're going to talk about what does it actually mean for music education. Is the NFHS, the National Federation of State High School Associations. We're going to talk about what that is, what it means. And to do that, I am delighted to bring in Chris Paulson, who is the newly appointed Director of Performing Arts and Sports at NFHS. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate the time.
So let's just start with, I like to level set with people. Tell us a little bit about you. How did you get to your role at NFHS? Your background in music, tell us about Chris.
Sure. Yeah. My path started with a love of music. I have an amateur musician father who always had instruments in the house. And learned to play woodwinds at a relatively young age, and joined band in middle school, junior high, high school, and knew that I definitely wanted to be involved in music and in the arts for a career. And that turned into a teaching career of 18 years. I taught band in public schools in the state of Indiana. Had a couple of stops along the way, but found the NFHS just over a year ago, September of 2024. I started with the organization. And was serving there as the manager of performing arts with then director Dr. James Weaver, and had the honor of serving that role with the NFHS for just about a year. And then just this past September 1st, was my official start date as the new director of performing arts with the NFHS. So have always enjoyed a career in music and enjoyed a career in the arts. I had some administrative responsibilities along the way, and have always enjoyed supporting other teachers and students and communities. And I know that the NFHS has really been a fantastic organization for me to feel like that service is coming. And that's what I get to do every day. I get to serve states and communities and all with kind of the idea that performing arts is an activity and an opportunity to get kids involved and make an impact across the country.
Yeah, so I think, some people may have heard of the NFHS. Now, I think people in our world, may have heard of it from going back to the pandemic when we're talking about the aerosol study, which you mentioned James Weaver, who was very involved in that. But I think people, hear NFHS and they think sports. They think certainly in our area, I see it pop up on social media as it relates to high school football, even to the point of, if you look up NFHS Indianapolis, you see where your building is. It's literally next to the NCAA headquarters. So there's a tie to sports, but obviously it's way more than that. So tell us about what is NFHS, what's the broad perspective? What is it?
Sure. As an organization has existed for over 100 years. I believe it's 105, 106 years that it's been in existence. And it really did start as an organization that was trying to solve the problems with high school sport and folks in different states who may be playing by different rules at the time and wanted to go into contests across state lines. And how do we play high school sport or have high school activities and be able to share common rules among those sporting opportunities or sporting events. And so the NFHS sprouted as an organization that started developing rules that could be used across state lines and across the country. And admittedly, primarily, we are known as a rules writing organization and one that promotes involvement in education-based athletics and activities. But we have a really healthy performing arts department, and we serve both or all of the above: music, speech, debate, theater. I also serve as the liaison for Spirit, so cheer and dance across the country. As an organization, the NFHS is really designed around serving a membership of state associations across our country. So in your state, you may have an athletics association or an activities association that serves as the primary member of the NFHS. And then we have relationships with a variety of affiliate organizations and affiliate associations as well. But our main membership is that state association, and the employees of that state association take advantage of, and we communicate with them about resources and opportunities for events. Again, the playing rules of sports. We are a rules writing authority and do write the rules for over 20 sports that are played across the country. But then on the performing arts side, we're providing resources to state associations across the country in music, speech, debate, and theater.
Yeah, and I would imagine you just talking on the sports world slightly. That's probably really complicated to get everyone to agree. But then I think what you guys are also doing is you're not just saying, "Hey, we're going to find a consensus on the rules," as complicated as that is. You're then training officials and doing that type of work as well, correct?
That's exactly right. And I think we pride ourselves on being a true federation by design. We are the National Federation of State High School Associations. We do not claim or want to govern those sports or those activities in any state. We leave that to the states to decide how they want to implement the playing rules for their sports, or in this case, in performing arts. What resources can we offer to your state that might help you to host an event in a solo and ensemble format, or a modern band format, marching band, concert band, all the things that exist in the music world. We're trying to help develop resources and make connections to people who need additional supports or help or resources. And ultimately, we leave it to the states to decide how they want those events and those activities to look and function. And then we are the conduit, and we open those lanes for broader communication or dreaming big about what the future about that of that might look like.
Yeah, I want to talk about the music piece for sure. One of the things that that I found out when as I came to learn about NFHS in the past few years was the speech and debate part. I was just that I guess I had never really thought about that piece of the puzzle, and I realized that's out there, but how big that is, and then how how many of the rules that go into there. So it's not just sports that you guys are doing, of course, and it's not just sports and music. It is these other academic areas. But let's talk a little bit about the music piece. You offer lots of resources. So if I'm a music teacher out there and I've heard of this group, but what are the resources that you're offering that might be attainable for them to use, and how do they find them?
Sure. So we do have a website that exists, nfhs.org. And on that website, we have a variety of resources, both on the athletics and activities side. But those resources range from arts advocacy resources that you might need to help start a conversation in your state with legislators or with parents, community members. Resources related to injuries that may happen, or the idea that we need to be aware of heat illness if it exists. We are really looking at providing resources to administrators at the state level that they can then disseminate to their district level administrators or teachers that might be useful for them in the classroom. We also have a really broad and really robust library, of online resources and online courses, the NFHS Learn Center, nfhslearn.com, which has, nfhslearn.com. Yes, that's right. We have courses that folks can take to get trained, or to provide training to new teachers, new parents, new officials, new adjudicators. So if you are, I'm sort of coming up with all sorts of things here now. If you're wanting to adjudicate a concert band event or a marching band event and your state has invited you to adjudicate, it's possible that they would ask you to use the NFHS Learn platform. And there's a course that is specific to music adjudication. We have similar courses on theater safety, speech and debate event management, all of these things that exist. So in addition to providing resources to classroom teachers for kind of their daily, day-to-day projects and activities, we also offer a robust series of resources to, like you said, those officials or those adjudicators in the music world and those state level administrators who are trying to manage those events and manage those opportunities. All of those levels of resources exist.
And so that's all this great online stuff, but you also offer a yearly performing arts conference, right?
That's true.
Yeah, tell us about that.
It's a wonderful opportunity for us to all connect together. Primarily, that event is attended by, again, those state level administrators who are overseeing program in their state, but we have seen an increased level of involvement from our district level coordinators, folks in your state who might be overseeing several schools or several high schools, and then even to the teachers who are teaching in large districts and need some additional supports or professional development. This happens every year in September, kind of third week of September. In 2026, we're looking forward to September 21st through the 23rd. This event is hosted for the last few years in Oak Brook, Illinois. And it's a 3-day event that is all encompassing and offers professional development to our administrators and teachers in, again, all of our performing arts areas. So not just music, but we have opportunities for workshops, panel discussions in speech, debate, theater, and music.
Wow. Looking back on your career as a music teacher, like, were you aware of NFHS, like, as you were in the classroom?
We really joke internally that the NFHS is the biggest organization you've never heard of. and especially for a classroom teacher, you don't have direct connection to the NFHS. And that's sort of by design. We're not looking to be branded and be on every worksheet that you're passing out to kids or the method books that are coming to your classes. What our role is to connect those state level administrators who are looking for resources to support activities in their state. We're trying to ask questions, figure out what their needs are, and serve their needs directly. And then as those administrators make decisions about the events that are happening in their states, those resources get disseminated or shared. We encourage teachers to take advantage of our online resources, but really our communication is primarily with our membership of administrators. And so if you as a classroom teacher haven't heard of the NFHS, it's not because we're ignoring you or don't want you to know who we are. It's really that our level of service is to the administrator first. And we know that a lot of the decisions that they're making for the best interest of music in your state is based on some of those resources that we are making connections with across the country.
So, but if I am that music teacher and I want to learn more about adjudication, say, but I haven't been asked to do it yet, but I'm curious and want to learn more, I can still go and NFHS Learn and participate in that?
And the beauty of it is all of our performing arts materials on NFHS Learn are free and will remain free. We do have a significant amount of coursework that is not free. And there's various levels of credentialing that you can receive if you're an official or if you're in the athletics world, et cetera. But all of our performing arts materials remain free for teachers and administrators and even students. I think about a brand new course that we just launched on vocal health and the ability to make sure that we're encouraging healthy use of our voices and training of our voices, encouraging education for teachers and students about voice changes as they happen from junior high to high school, et cetera. That's really important information for students and for parents to know as well. And it is all free on the performing arts side.
Well, I would absolutely encourage people to check out nfhs.org, nfhslearn.com. See what's there, see what you might want to interact with, and take a look under the hood. So, Chris, thanks for talking with us about this day. I mean, I know somewhat about it, but this was actually very eye-opening for me about the resources that you offer. So I appreciate your time.
Of course. Thank you, Mark. And excuse me, in addition to those resources, I'll try to share with you a couple of additional links. We have an arts advocacy specific page We have some information on copyright and licensing that would be important for music and musicians to know. So lots of additional resources I'm happy to share that then I hope you can share to your audience as well.
Absolutely. And the copyright one is so good that I have gone through that many, many times. And I remember as we were in the pandemic, listening to those webinars and those things that you were putting out and the really wonderful resources that are there, important stuff for music educators to be aware of. So we will, of course, link all of that. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
And thank you all for being with us on this edition of PMEA's Take Note Podcast. We will see you next time.